Bitcoin overnight got close to my target zone here. Target is, again, about the 60 to 61,000 level. It got to 59.4, I think. I still think it's going to go up there, but my big concern, again, is that if we do get up in this zone right here, does it then have that next move down? And so I'm keeping a close eye on the technical support of 52,000. That's this line right down here. Resistance is 60 to 61.
Bitcoin Zella stands out with its simplicity and clarity. We've crafted an experience that anyone can dive into, whether you're a crypto expert or just a new to the crypto world. Now, guess who keeps his eye on us? The author of best-selling book Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. And we want to take this opportunity and thank all the people who trusted us, and we read every comment. And the best part, it's free. Subscribing now means you will get all new information for free. Don't just follow the trends, stay ahead of them. Subscribe to Bitcoin Zella today and enjoy the new edge. Let's join Gareth in this video about Bitcoin and more.
And on the S&P pre-market, one of the things I'm seeing here is that we have a float up. Now, I looked at this float this morning and I said to myself, okay, so the S&P is up again, right? And the question is it because that it's a wide-ranging rally, or is it just a few stocks? So what I did was I flipped over to the RSP. Now, the RSP doesn't have a lot of volume, but this is the ETF that tracks the equal weight. And look at this here, pre-market, guys. The ETF for RSP is literally flat. A few prints have gone off sideways. This is where we closed yesterday, right here, and it is literally flat. So what does that tell us? What does it tell us when we see the S&P higher, the NASDAQ 100 higher, and the equal weight is sideways? It tells us what is moving. Like, literally, you don't even have to look at quotes. You just say, okay, equal weight's flat, S&P, NASDAQ up, so NVIDIA's up, Apple's up, Microsoft's up, and Meta's up, Google, Amazon, maybe even Tesla after its monster run. And you'd be right. Today, dead on. And that's the market, folks. At this stage of the game, we have such confluence or such a massive overload in market cap in these mega cap stocks. In fact, Apple just surpassed $3.5 trillion in valuation. So such a massive amount of market cap that is basically now 36% of the S&P 500, that if those stocks are up, it's going to take the whole index up with it. Now, again, equal weight's the real market. If you want to look at a market, look at the equal weight. And if I flip to the equal weight daily chart right here, and we zoom out, what does this show us? Well, it very clearly shows us on the equal weight here that we do not have a market that is making new all-time highs. Now, granted, yes, the headline indices, S&P, NASDAQ are making new all-time highs. But if we look at the equal weight put in a high late March right there, right? So late March, that high was a valid new all-time high on the S&P. But since then, look at what's happening. You're starting to create what I would call a wedge pattern. And the wedge pattern is this kind of tightening spring that is going to break one way or the other. Are we going to get a rebound in the equal weight, the other players there, maybe some money rotation from the mega caps where we start to rally up and make new highs? Or is it just going to get really bad for everyone and we see the equal weight starting to collapse? So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to continue to follow it with you guys and we'll see where things go. Couple other things to go over this morning. The yen is continuing to weaken. Here is my dollar-yen chart. We can see if we zoom up into the top right corner there that after a quick pullback on the dollar-yen, so the dollar-yen broke out here, went up, came back, tested a couple days. It's now starting to move up. My guess is it's going up. Remember, this is a chart that, while it hasn't been talked about in mainstream media, is a chart we want to continue to follow.
Bitcoin sellers are trying to cap BTC's price below $60,000 as bullish momentum builds. Bitcoin closed in on $60,000, hitting a high of $59,459. It rose 1.5%, bouncing from oversold conditions. Analysts noted the RSI's rebound from its lowest levels in 10 months. Dan Crypto Trades highlighted bullish divergences, while Rect Capital confirmed the RSI divergence was playing out. Traders identified $58,400 and $59,000 as critical levels. Justin Bennett suggested reclaiming $58,400 could lead to a retest of $60,000, $60,700. Data from CoinGlass showed building liquidity at $60,000. Bitcoin is challenging a 1.5-month downtrend and battling for the 99-day and 200-day moving averages. U.S. economic indicators, such as the Consumer Price Index and Producer Price Index, are crucial for determining Bitcoin's next move. Bitcoin's price is approaching critical resistance at $60,000, with key levels and macroeconomic data likely influencing its next direction. Traders are watching closely as the market tries to break free from current selling pressure.
Gold getting a little bit of an uptick here. Again, interestingly enough, little side note here, I was short gold from over here. We were in the money, out of the money, in the money, out of the money. Once it confirmed here, I actually covered my short on gold because my mid to long term is bullish. So when I bought over here, my short term was bearish. But look, over time, it becomes midterm, right? And so I'm not saying that gold is ready to surge yet, but the chart itself was not a high enough probability for me to stay short on gold. So I actually covered for a 0.74% loss, less than a percent. Very small loss there. But nonetheless, it's important to recognize that when you can and step aside. And now I haven't gone long yet because I'm not confident again enough in that. But one little tidbit, institutional money is heavily long, hedge fund money, I should say, is heavily long gold. Remember when they were heavily short oil, oil went up. So I do wonder if there still could be some downside just because maybe there's a little unwind in that institutional hedge fund money that's long, as it would be the inverse of the oil move, right? But at the same time, I also think retail investors and central banks are still buying, and they're still retail investors are heavily underallocated in gold. So if that can maybe negate it, maybe gold can still move to the upside. All right, quickly looking at silver, then oil. Silver doing the same sort of thing. It did break above here. I don't have any positions on silver at this point. I would buy back here at around $29.50 and then add if it got down here. But either way, I'm still in the bullish camp overall that silver and gold do very, very well. And lastly, real quick, guys, we want to look at oil, which again, we could see right here on the chart. You've now had 1, 2, 3, 4 down days in a row. Granted, we don't know where today will end. We get inventory numbers out at 10:30 a.m., but we are coming into a small minor. This would be a minor support only, but we can see why it would be a support line, right? So right here around 80 to 80 and a half, $81 per barrel, there is support. If I had to game this out and say what I thought was going to happen, I think you get a small bounce here, and then you get the bigger flush to the downside, and eventually we're back down here around $74 per barrel. And I continue to hold a short on oil here, folks, as again, it coming in, and even if it bounces a little bit, I'm not too concerned about that, as I do think it'll go lower. Lastly, natural gas, guys. Natural gas chart here real quick. And if we look at nat gas, it is just hugging this level of support. This is only a minor level, just a trend line from here. But again, you can see how price at a minor level, how it acts, right? It still gets some support, right? Just because it's a minor level doesn't mean it's going to ignore it. It just means that the bounce is usually less volatile, and it can be much kind of quicker. And so what you're getting is you're getting this, and I still think we're headed down to 215. 215 for me. I will be potentially inching into a small position. Don't know yet, because again, I have to see how it gets there. It's very important how it gets there. The journey is a major component of whether a trade will work out or not, by the way. But that is something, again, you can see right here. This is also, if I remember correctly, a 0.618 move from this low to this high. So that would be a 618 Fibonacci. I love it when the fibs match up with technical support levels. It usually increases the ability for a bounce to occur. All right, wow. So lots of action, guys. I know we're still not at the CPI data or any of this other stuff or earnings, but it just shows you that there are things going on here that you need to be aware of. Economic indicators like commodities that most people don't look at, lumber, wheat, nickel. These type of things can tell us things about what the economy is likely going to do. Yesterday, Jerome Powell testified. He did say he was concerned about the jobs data weakening, and that was the major reason why we could see a cut later this year. I think he probably already knows the CPI number, which is expected tomorrow, and him talking about maybe being able to cut probably means the CPI comes in reasonably good, or at least in line with expectations.
U.S. spot Bitcoin ETFs saw significant inflows for the second consecutive day, totaling $294.9 million. On Monday, U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF accumulated $294.9 million in inflows, with BlackRock's Bitcoin Trust, IBIT, attracting $187.21 million, bringing its reserves to 310,470.32 BTC, valued at $17.83 billion. Fidelity's FBTC garnered $61.54 million, Grayscale's GBTC secured $25.08 million, Bitwise's PITB drew in $11.05 million. ARK Invest's ARKB collected $8.44 million, and VanEck's HODL acquired $1.59 million. No inflows or outflows were recorded for BTO, VARR, DEFI, EZBC, and BTC-DO. The continued inflows highlight growing investor confidence in Bitcoin, BTC, despite recent market downturns. The competitive landscape is evolving, with BlackRock leading and significant investments in other ETF. US Spot Bitcoin ETF are seeing robust inflows, indicating strong investor confidence. BlackRock's IBIT leads the market, with substantial investments in other funds showing a competitive and dynamic market environment. The 11 U.S. Spot Bitcoin Exchange-Traded Funds ETF saw inflows for the third consecutive day on Tuesday, bringing in $216.33 million. BlackRock's IBIT was the top performer, securing $121.03 million during the trading sessions. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoinzilla for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.